Good evening, viewers and listeners, and welcome to the January 29th edition of Beyond the Headlines. I'm your host, Colin Dowe, and I am pleased to be welcoming you wherever you're tuning in from. I know some people like to take in the show in their living rooms, others will be in a more social setting, whether you're outside, out and about, on your phones. Welcome, thank you for joining us, GBN Television, GBN Radio, and our social media platforms. We are speaking the state of the tourism industry this evening, and I have two esteemed guests with me. Minister of Tourism, Adrian Thomas. Senator Adrian Thomas, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And a very familiar face in tourism, Mr. Mandu Seals. Welcome, Mandu.
Good evening, good evening.
Excellent, excellent. And we're going to be chatting tourism just openly. There was a slogan many years ago saying tourism is everybody's business and we all have our part to play. That still resonates. So no matter what we speak of, no matter what we touch on, tourism is an integral part of the life of a Grenadian. That's without a question. And Minister, I'll just start off with you. If you'll give us just an overview of the tourism sector. Speaking primarily to the areas that you believe that we're performing well and the areas that might still be lagging behind our 2019-2020 statistics because, of course, of the intervention of the COVID pandemic.
Thank you very much, Colin, though, and it's nice to have me on the program. It's a pleasure. I've not been on GBN Beyond the Headlines for quite a while.
And I hope you didn't calypso you were speaking the last time you were on.
No, I was there before. But you did make the point that we have two familiar faces, which is this evening. However, I am not too sure if my face is very familiar in regards to tourism. I think I'm maybe the new kid on the block in regards to tourism. But Colin, is just 3 weeks since I've been there, and there is so much to learn. I have been using the last couple of weeks to move around and get to know my staff, get to know some of the key stakeholders in the business, and I've found out that really and truly tourism compared to agriculture maybe has the same magnitude. I mean, in agriculture you have livestock, you have agronomy, you have forestry, you have fisheries, you have a number of things. Right. But what I've found out in the tourist industry, you have hoteliers, you have tour operators, you have taxi association, you have vendors, you have parks to look after. I mean, there are sites, you have heritage. I mean, it goes on and on.
Don't let the people in the yachting sector get angry.
Well, that's the point. I have to call the yacht, the cruise industry. I mean, there's so much to talk about in tourism. And what amazed me, Colin, is the dynamics of this very important sector. I had the opportunity to look at some of the statistics before COVID and then after COVID. Right. And I am quite pleased to see that where we were left in 2019, we are not there as yet in 2023-24, but there are signs that we will soon surpass the pre-COVID statistics. Okay. I think that is a very, very positive sign for the tourist industry, and I'm sure my good friend will agree with me in that regards. We are lagging behind in quite a few areas. Our parks I have not visited them as yet.
Well, no, before we get into the actual products, just in terms of overall statistics, so if I'm to think of cruise, are we there? And it's when you think of cruise, there are two things. The number of calls that you have in a particular year, but there's also the number of passengers that disembark and get to impact the economy, and those are two different things.
Big figures, Colin. We have where the stayover visitors has increased significantly from 2019 coming up to 2023.
Okay.
The even passengers coming in, cruise ship, airlift, stayover visitors. Those figures are looking good for 2023. Okay. It means that things are going upwards. We also I also had the opportunity to look at some of the inaugural flights. We have about 16, I think, registered to come in this year, in 2024. I had the opportunity to welcome one already. I will have the opportunity on Wednesday to welcome another one, and on Saturday to welcome another one. So things are looking positive. And the figures you are talking about is 2,500 passengers plus crew.
Right.
So those figures are looking heavy.
And these are calls now. We're talking cruise. We're talking cruise.
Because and then we have the airlift aircrafts.
Right.
We have Boston. I mean, 2 flights a day from JetBlue.
Right.
I mean, those are positive signs. I've also picked up surprisingly that the U.S. is our biggest market,
right.
And the Caribbean maybe is next in line, which is positive, and it means that we have to do a lot of work within the Caribbean because it's a good grounds to do some serious marketing.
Right. And I said you'd want to come back on intra-regional travel and the importance of that to our market. But Mando, you're on the ground. So as an operator, what are your impressions in the post-COVID-19 recovery? So, as you look at your own business and in speaking to colleagues, 2019 to 2020 compared to 2023?
2019, you see more spending power is there more than what it is presently. The spending power. You haven't seen people as that spending power as prior to the COVID. Hopefully it'll get there, but you can see that's a drop off there as well.
Is it a case that we have a different type of visitor? And your focus here would be cruise passengers, as you say, the spending power, or is it the stayover visitors that you'll pick up at hotels?
Both. Yes, it's on board. The excursionists, which is the cruise, and the stayover visitors. That's right. But that's where the bulk of the money comes from, the stayover visitors,
right,
and not the excursionists. Because on average, the CTO will tell you the cruise ship passengers spend on average between $15 and $20 per person. Yeah, which is pretty small compared to those who stay. Even the yachties spend more money than the cruise ships. Yeah.
But the longer we have them on the ground, of course, the more opportunities that they will have to spend.
Obvious.
But if you're saying that the spend is less, is it that the type of ships that we have coming in, because I know we have some new boats and companies that are coming in, is it, and I've also noticed that they are smaller in size, so the carrying capacity might be a little bit less as well. Is it, just in terms of your own observations, is it a case of the type of visitor that has changed, that has caused the lower spend? Or is it, type of visitor, and we could classify type of visitor in different ways?
Part to do with is the product, what there is to buy. You see a visitor walk show going to St. Georgetown, and you see some magnolia, when you turn it upside down in China and Taiwan. Where is the nice piece of craft? Where is the things like that you need to, that is the problem. That was the biggest problem for years, and will continue. Product, yes, something to buy.
All right. Minister, 3 weeks in, but you have a portfolio. So what is your vision, or we can see the vision of your administration for the development of tourism in the medium to long term?
Well, the vision that we need in Grenada is sustainability, number one. Sustainability. Whatever we are involved in, it must be sustainable. And therefore, in going forward, the development of your product must be sustainable. We must look at the art in Grenada. I just came from a launch. The Arts Council had an exhibition in the museum, obviously in the stadium.
Right.
And Colin, it was amazing to see the kind of art that our local people are generating. Now, I was so impressed that if only I had the money, I'd buy some of them. But I believe that those things will attract tourists. Now, I believe that we have to create the avenue for these people to develop. The issue of the parks, I believe we have to enhance those things. That's my vision is that when I meet a tourist in New York, I must say to the tourist, when you go to Grenada, visit Grenada. But I must say for what? Right? When you go to Granans Beach, when you go to Grenada, visit Granans Beach. not just sea and sand, but I must say for what? I must put some addition to that. I must talk about the food, I must talk about the sports, I must talk about what is available with those little boats that people run up and down the water taxis and all those sort of things. I'm learning the terms, right? My vision is to make sure that we have those things. Also, the question of preserving and respecting the natural resources of Grenada. I think we have a vast, we're not short on sites, Colin. The Granite Lake, I think we need to preserve and respect that. Not only utilize it for what it is, but we must enhance the surrounding. The present state of it now, much is desired. Right. I saw I think some work was done on the Annandale site from what it was maybe 10 years ago. That is the kind of development that you are talking about. But it's going to take a lot of cash to get there.
Is it? Have we suffered from a lack of vision as Grenadians in developing our tourism product? And I say this from the backdrop that unlike most of our Caribbean neighbors, we can position ourselves both as seawater and sand as well as ecotourism, because we do have beautiful beaches, black and white sand, and we do have the likes of the Granitang Rainforest, the Granitang Lake, the falls, etc. But as you just pointed out, there seem to have been no development of those sites or the recognition of how we can enhance areas within Grenada in order to have them as being strong, sustainable tourism products.
Well, yes, I believe what we lack the vision. Many years ago when and I'm going to say this here tonight live, many years ago in 1978 when the University of the West Indies came to Grenada. I'm correct? 78, is it right?
77.
77, right?
And if it's the University of the West Indies, extramural
SU, sorry.
But St. George's
University. When
first class 77.
When it came to first class 1977, Colin, I thought it was a golden opportunity for we to start thinking about the new city. We continue with St. George. We continue going down Granans and develop Granans, but we're not thinking about a new city. St. George's could have been the ideal town to develop some form of heritage, right? Where with all these ancient buildings and so on and so forth. The population, the traffic has outgrown St. George, and you find we jam into the real city, and we're trying to preserve some of the heritage inside there also, right? So we lack the vision in that respect. The natural resources that we have in Grenada, we have not over the years think about where we want it to be in the next 25 years, in the next 30 years. And if we sometimes I'm forced to think that we are just thinking about tomorrow. Today for tomorrow, but not the next 20, 30 years.
Well,
if you listen to
let me just do this here. Maybe the politicians were only thinking of the next election cycle and not necessarily
the next generation
in 25 years, 30 years.
That's the point. But our administration have a different perspective. I think that is the direction we are going. We are thinking about the next 20, next 30 years. The language for this independence celebration is what will happen. That is what we were telling the school children. Think about what Grenada will be in the next 50 years. You and I may not be around, but we have to start thinking about the future generation, because the Grenada belongs to them in the future. And if we don't really and truly think about the future in that light, then obviously we lack some vision.
Okay. Just before I go on to Mando, as you would have made the wrongs over the last 3 weeks, have you yet identified, this is one thing I want to do? I don't know when the cabinet reshuffle will come, but before it comes, this is
what. Can't come in the morning, Colin. Every day is the last day in politics.
Yeah, but have you identified something that this is what I want to do for Grenada's tourism product?
There's a lot of things that I want to do, Colin. Plenty. First and foremost, I must tell you, the way I look at tourism, you develop a product not for people living in England or Europe, but for the enjoyment of your people, the nation. And if you like it when you come, you'll come back and bring more people. So that is one of my vision, to develop, because tourism is not just international people coming on holiday. we have local tourism, we have regional tourism, we have international tourism.
And COVID proved it.
And COVID proved that we have local tourism. Right. So you can leave St. George and go to St. Patrick and spend a weekend, and that is tourism. And domestic tourism. And therefore, Grenadians must feel at some point in them as a tourist in their own country, because a lot of people don't know Sautes. Right. Go to Sautes, drive in the networks of roads, and that in itself is a plus. So we must appreciate that in the first instance as Grenadians, and then invite people to come and see what we have. So you have to build tourism to the extent where Grenadians appreciate that they have a product which they can enjoy and call on other people to enjoy it. Colin, by weekend, every block you pass, people will be cooking oil on. It's always, let's pay some emphasis on it. I understand that there was some function somewhere and oil was selling at 20 US, 20 pounds a plate. Right. That is ours. Let us develop it, let us portray it, let us tell people what we have, so that when they come to Grenada, they can appreciate what we have. I really and truly believe that when tourists come to Grenada, they must eat Grenadian, live Grenadian, swim Grenadian, lime Grenadian. We have something to offer, and we must pay a lot of emphasis on it.
Okay. And let me just, before I come over to you, Mando, tell you one observation that I made. I went to Jamaica, I'm sitting at a resort, and I'm listening to tourists attempting to speak Jamaican. I'm at a hotel in Grenada, and I'm hearing the employees trying to speak American. Maybe that ties into your being, saying we must promote what we have and who we are.
Yes, but yeah, we have to be proud of ourselves first. We have to accept ourselves, accept who we are as a nation, and sell it to the world. And we have the social media that we can make maximum use of that. And we not only to the negative things that we need to talk about, but we need to portray our country as the best in the world. People refer to us as the paradise. I don't hear that. I don't hear Grenadians relating that to each other. I mean, when you travel, you might say that, but you're on the Granans Beach and you're talking about food and drinks and all other things, the talk of the tongue or whatever it is, but you don't relate to each other and say, boy, where we are here, this is the best part of the world.
Right. Yeah. We live the way they want a vacation.
That's the point.
All right. Mando, tourist arrives on a cruise ship. What is a day like for that tourist who takes on one of your excursions?
All depends on what they wanted to see. You have different tours you offer to different parts of the island. Right. Who want to go to Concord? The sightseeing and sun tourism has gone very flat. Right? Okay. People looking for more. The eco-tourism, health, wellness tourism, sports tourism, this is the way we should be going. Forget about these big hotels. They're not going to cut it for us. They're low-paying jobs as far as I'm concerned. We need eco-lodge. You see a place like Liverpool, say talking about 400 rooms and 300 rooms, 100 eco-lodge. People come and spend the whole winter.
Well, let's go. This is the visioning side. I'm going to come back to the visioning, but I'm just trying to get a sense that someone steps off the cruise ship. They have what, 6 hours?
Yeah, 6, 7 hours. That's it.
6, 7 hours on island. What are they exposed to? What is the bug that will bite them during those 6 or 7 hours that will convert them from the excursion, a cruise passenger, to the stay-over visitors?
Right. As you said, because you've got to remember, a lot of these people are returning visitors. They come three times. They come 4, 5, 6, 7 times. But what more to show to them, as the minister said, this is where the product comes in. It's where now we see we have the Nutmeg Museum in Victoria. That's a big plus. We have the Nutmeg Museum in Bolio now. It's a big help, something new, but we need more. And
so take me through a tour. What do they see? They come off the ship, they get onto one of the buses. What do they see?
The spices is a big. Most of these people have never seen a nutmeg tree or a cinnamon or a clove or a bay leaf. That's a big plus for us. Grenada grow like 11 different spices. So it's a huge plus for us showing them a spice tree. Okay. Right? Obviously, we have a very pristine rainforest, which is a plus for us. Waterfalls, as you said. Annandale, up and down, all depends on the time of the year, because the peak of the cruise ship season and hotel season is a dry season. Right. So the water angle, obvious, will drop back a bit. But a few of the things I mentioned there, that's what you will grab onto. But there again, what to buy.
Right.
This is the problem. What they take back from
so the
Grenada
things that they're impressed with, you would say, would be the spices, the wow
natural
factor,
beauty.
the natural beauty,
Right.
The spices. What else is a wow? Because I'm trying to get this, if they're to come back, right? What intrigues them during that 6 or 7 hour excursion, that when they get back to the boat, they say, next time we're going to vacation in Grenada, as opposed to do a stopover because they're yearning for more.
Yes. Another problem is Grenada is known as safe. I mean, you have good and bad everywhere, but that play a big part for us as a safe destination. And people want to feel comfortable, not like people grabbing your wallet left, right, and center in the tongue of St. George. That's a big plus for us. It's safe.
Colin, the whole question of, the hospitality of our people, this is a plus. From the time the tourists touch down, the people at the airport, the immigration officers, the custom officers, taxi drivers, the hotel receptionists, you go to the restaurants. Grenadians are just naturally.
Can I challenge you on this? Over and over again, I hear Grenadians are warm and friendly. I've heard it so often that I'm convinced it's true.
It's true.
So that's an honest.
It's a fact.
Right.
It's a fact.
But I'm also heard consistently that in terms of customer service, we're poor.
Well, we might be poor in regards to training, but it's not malice or malicious that we're going to make the tourists feel bad. And just like how we have not enhanced some of our products, and we just let nature take its course. Just so we hire somebody and put them in a restaurant with the assumption that they will do a good job. But we have to train the individual. And when we train the individual, we'll polish the individual and enhance the product that we have naturally. And I'm going to give you a good reminder, because West Indies cricketers in the days of Clive Lloyd had natural talent. When those guys went to England to play county cricket, that talent multiplied 10 times. And that's why they were able to dominate world cricket. And therefore, what we have naturally in us is good hospitality, but we need to build on it, we need to enhance it, and we need to make sure we're on the right track. The world is changing, and we need to move with it. But Colin, I want to make another point on the question of the spices. And it's a couple of weeks that I've left the Ministry of Agriculture, and we embarked on a spice replanting project. It was something that we campaigned on. The Prime Minister was very big on it, and he likes the idea. And this is the exact reason why we decided we're going to approach some of the hotels in the south, as we have done already, and we're going to continue, to make sure that every hotel, even though at least 12 trees, have a little spice garden. You cannot have a tourist coming to Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean, drinking nutmeg in rum punch. And he doesn't know what the nutmeg look like. He spends a month in the hotel in the south, because a lot of the hotels, with respect, all inclusive. So he may not go out and see a nutmeg tree, but he can remain in the hotel and touch the nutmeg, feel the nutmeg, know what it is. And therefore, it is important that every hotel have at least 1 or 2 spice trees. It could be cinnamon, it could be nutmeg, and the nutmeg may not grow well in the south. Or it may not be as it should. But the bourdain, the bay leaves, they will grow well down there. Right.
The
pimento, they will grow well down there. So we have a number of spices that will grow well in different parts of the country. So it is important that our local people also, and that's why we want the schools to have a botanical garden, a spice garden. The consciousness must come into people that Grenada is known for spices, and the world want it, and the world need it, and they come here for it. So if Grenada is not conscious of that, and we're not part and parcel of it, it means that we will not be able to capitalize on it in
the reality, just from building upon what you said earlier, that we must be able to appreciate and enjoy our own destination, and then others will come and join us in the enjoyment.
That's the point.
We probably should be able to identify those price trees as well.
Of course.
I don't know what percentage of the Grenadian population can identify as.
Colin, how many do you know?
Yeah?
How many do you know?
I do know a few, but I am not going to say that I'm an expert. I will confess, and that too is a challenge, and is a way for us to get entrenched in our product.
Most definitely.
And to also be able to speak comfortably and confidently about the product. So if a visitor asks you about Grenada, as a Grenadian, you should be able to respond intelligently from a secure knowledge base.
And Colin, I mean, in the early days, maybe even now, you go to Grenada and people picnic there, and they leave the garbage there.
Yeah, that's
It's product.
Yeah.
What is that? And it's not because they really want to punish anybody, but maybe we're not talking to ourselves enough of what that product means to you. The statistics, maybe we need to collect the statistics. I saw some statistics today for 2022 where the little gate in Granada was able to generate about $70,000 EC dollars for the year. I mean, people pass through there, locals don't pay anything, but the gateman is barely recognized per se. But yet for all, we are able to generate over $70-something thousand. So it means that if we do something a little more and enhance the product and make it work, and our own people appreciate the value of it and see the need to preserve it, protect it, and respect it, then we're heading for goal.
Okay. How would you define Grenada's tourism product? So as you think of Grenada's tourism product now, 3 weeks in, what are some of the things that comes to mind immediately?
Immediately, Collins, we have a lot of products to attract tourists in Grenada. But we have a lot of work to do to make them, to enhance them, and to make them sustainable.
What are we selling?
We have a lot to sell.
No, I know we have a lot to sell.
We have a lot to sell. Well, we sell the usual things. Yeah. We sell the hospitality. Yeah. We sell the safeness of our country. We sell some of the sites, the forts. We can go sports tourism and talk about the stadium that we have here. We can talk about Kirani James. We can talk about Peters. We can talk agritourism.
I'm saying, Minister, these are ideas, and I agree with you.
Well, no, these are ideas, but they are also operational, some of them. They are I mean, if you read some of the documents that we put out there, all what I'm seeing here are documented in them. And we expect tourists to read them and come to Grenada. We expect people that want to train during the winter to come to Grenada and practice in the stadium, practice in Lansages, practice in Progress Park, and all those, if we're serious on promoting sports tourism, and this is something we have to look at and deal with it. If we're promoting agro-tourism, that is something we have to develop and move with it. We have the ability, and most of those areas, Colin, from my observation before being the Minister for Tourism, I've seen those things and the potential that they have. But we just commence it, but we don't develop and move on.
Right. Okay.
And we need to do that.
Okay.
So that's where we need to have the long-term strategic plan to move forward.
Yeah.
You know, you can't do things in an ad hoc manner. You must have a plan where you want to be 10 years, 20 years down the road.
Yes. Right.
As the minister said, we might be gone, but still we have to pave that path for those the incoming generation. It's very important that we do that.
Just share in terms of your experience, Mando, because you've been involved in the industry for quite some time. So Minister mentioned a couple of areas. Let's just start off with sports tourism. We'll do twofold here, because we have an athletic stadium, we have the cricket stadium. We used to have the cricket classics a few years ago. I think we have lost that. But just from your own observations, have we had enough push to ensure that we develop a sports tourism industry? And where do you see signs of us being able to germinate and grow in terms of sports tourism?
Well, there are quite a lot of signs, as you said, sports tourism, because we have the professional people, the names are already out there, the Kirani James, and so the names are already there. But what we need now, we have the facilities, but do we need more people to get on board in sort of selling it as well? That's where I think we're lacking as well. Outside there, yes, but we are showing enough outside there what we have to offer. This is the problem. And if this way the plan will come into it, strategic plan, long-term strategic plan. That's what we need.
Okay. If I'm to ask you, Minister, to vision, I'm going to deliberately just stick on sports tourism for a little bit, and just say, how do we leverage the fact that we have the greatest of all time over the 400 meters in Olympics? How do we leverage to have a twice-time world champion in Addison Peters? How do we leverage our now internationally renowned coach, the first world champion in track and field, in Aline Francisque? How do we leverage the successes that we have had in cricket? If I'm to go to the other side, from Junior Murray to Raw Lewis, and I'm deliberately going from first to last because Raw Lewis is still manager of West Indies cricket team. So from Junior Murray to Raw Lewis in that sense, how do we go about leveraging that?
Yes, and a very, very important subject, because I believe we have lapsed over the years. Kieran James won goal. We did some, people maybe outside of Grenada did some little documentaries and put it outside there. But we as a nation, we didn't grab the opportunity. We didn't talk about his upbringing in school, eating fish and dasheen and yam and this, the kind of food that will give you the strength. We didn't talk much about his coach from the time he was in primary school to the time he became an international athlete. So all these things we could talk about, and because it means that people have the talent, natural talent, but did we take his coach and see how we could train him further to come back and train Grenadians, and we become the hub for 400 meters. This was a golden opportunity to capitalize on that. I don't think we did much with
and
that.
Aline Francisque seems to be, as an individual, bringing international athletes here to train.
That's the point.
How are we going to facilitate Aline Francisque and his coaching colleagues to bring more athletes here?
So that's the exact point I'm making. Aline Francisque took his own initiative to develop himself. After he performed as an athlete, he developed himself, his skills, and he's now an internationally recognized coach. Grenada is lucky and blessed, and I say we are nice people. He could have stayed outside there and do what he's doing, go to Africa, go to Europe or somewhere else and do his coaching. He chose to come back to Grenada. And we must embrace him and recognize him and acknowledge him, respect him, cherish him, and make him feel happy as he's a king. Sometimes I believe as a nation we fail to do those things and we take it for granted. We clap and we applaud and everybody nice and so on, but really and truly we don't capitalize and leverage on those opportunities.
All right, it is time for our first break, viewers. So we're talking tourism. We just ended on sports tourism, but we'll be right back because the industry is vast. See you shortly.
On February 3rd and 4th, the Grenada Motor Club presents Grenada's 50th Independence Invitational Drags at Pearls International Speedway, St. Andrews. Come out to see our local boys compete against the fastest drag racing cars the Caribbean has to offer. There will be special entertainment from one of the Caribbean's top drifters and live performances from one of our local artists. February 2nd is the welcome party at Lavo Lanes. February 3rd, Test and Tune at Pearls International Speedway. And February 4th, drag race finals. Contact us at Grenada Motor Club 473@gmail.com. Grenada's 50th Independence Invitational Drags, February 3rd and 4th at Pearls International Speedway. This will be an epic one.
Agritech Limited Grenada is your one-stop shop for all your farming needs. We provide seeds and seedlings, pesticides, fertilizers, irrigation and water management systems, veterinary products, and a wide range of agricultural products and implements. Our staff is knowledgeable and ready to serve you. Call us on 435-9677 or 440-4460 or visit us in Happy Hill, St. George. We are open Monday to Saturday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays, 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Agritech Limited Grenada. Come grow with us.
Your new GrenLeg bill is even easier to read and still has all the valuable information you need to track and manage your usage.
Hey Mom, okay, your friendly tech support is here. So you got the new GrenLeg bill? Let's take a look. The new bill makes it even easier to see your bill total, the due date, and much more. And take a closer look. It actually is a lot easier to understand. Let me show you. You can still see exactly what the charges are for, but in a great new format. It even shows how the cost of generating and delivering the electricity to you is calculated using your actual usage. And Mom, let Lucy know she can check out Grenlec's new Understanding Your Bill video. Anyway, look who says hi, and see you soon.
Your new Grenlec bill, easier to understand and easier to track your usage.
Have you heard about the new Soft Weave bathroom tissue with total hygiene? As hygiene and safety have taken center stage, our bathroom tissue is now manufactured with 3 different technologies to offer the best protection for you and your family. UVC light technology for a safe and effective disinfection process, eliminating 99.9% of microorganisms. Also, production at high temperatures, killing all types of germs and bacteria. And it's pH controlled with delicate fibers to prevent irritation for even sensitive skin. Soft Weave Total Hygiene Bathroom Tissue. Available in supermarkets and shops island-wide. Visit Soft Weave Caribbean Facebook or Instagram pages for more information.
I'm a VIP. I'm a VIP.
I am VIP. I am vaccinated. I am immunized. I am protected. Our children and nation depend on vaccination for immunization. Childhood vaccination is national priority. It is their protection from disease and sicknesses. Let's all be VIPs and safeguard our beautiful Grenada. I am DJ Blackstorm and I am a VIP health champion. Be a VIP like me.
Let's all be VIP champions.
A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs, Be a VIP Childhood Vaccination and Immunization Campaign in collaboration with UNICEF and the Pan American Health Organization.
Welcome back to this evening's edition of Beyond the Headlines. We're speaking about the state of the tourism industry. And Mandu, just enlighten us. The stayover visitor, what type of activities would they typically get engaged in from your knowledge?
Well, this is the problem. After the tour and the diving, what else? There's a nice nightlife to go to. There's a nice show. The Robert White and these guys, and see what happened. That is the problem you face with. But they go back to their money, as you rightly said.
Oh, Lord. Right.
Yeah.
So they will do, let's say, a day tour.
Yeah.
Which would involve, let's say, Concord, getting up to
the sites and attractions.
Sites and attractions.
Right.
All right. Where are some of the popular eating spots if you want to take an island tour?
Yeah, Belmont Estate, Pittians.
Right.
Yes, and if you want to go more local, you can stop in Grenville at Good Food.
Right.
If you want to go down to the road like that.
Okay.
So you have, yeah.
And then the dive, what are the areas?
Well, the Sculptural Park, we just put in another, 30 or so. So that's a big draw to people. Yeah. But again, how much we benefit from it. There is not even a fee that you could. This is the problem with that. You spend all this money and put it inside, and what Grenada's getting, what's in return, is nothing for us.
Okay.
This is the problem.
Meaning, just define nothing for us, for me, please, because I'm guilty because I'm a diver,
okay.
right? So, and I know that
you need wardens.
The divers pay to dive.
To collect the money, you need wardens and so to collect the money, and so a lot of people use the park and come out with nothing on it. And it's expensive to put it into, but you need to get the returns from it, and you bring employment for people as well. We had some boats before that all that went to nothing. So that's what we got to look at it. Grabbing a dollar, you can get it from because you're offering a service, so you need to get returns from it.
Right. But is it sufficient? Because we have a number of wrecks.
Yes.
We have the reefs as well, and that is a sector. So do we necessarily have to look for $2 to go to a particular site, or is it we have these sites and therefore we can bring more individuals who are interested in diving to Grenada?
Yes, of course. We do have quite a few dive shops. I think about 10 or so dive shops. Yes, a lot of people come for diving, but I mean, as I said, some of them dive, 4 or 5 times here for the week before they return back home. But again, after the diving, what else besides the dinners at the hotels that you could offer them? Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right. Yeah. Minister, so we seem to be hearing that tourists leaving Grenada with money in their pocket. What can we do to prevent that? Well, we have to give value for money, but of course we should have opportunities for them to spend everything else and max out the credit card.
Colin, the honest truth is, I mean, we really don't. We close off too early in Grenada. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, everybody looking to pack up and go. Right. The hotels may be open, but the nightlife itself is not really there. Even Grenadians, sometimes you get fed up. You finish a meeting in St. George's 9 o'clock and you say, well, boy, you had a hard day's work, let's go and have a drink somewhere. And everywhere closed.
Right.
Everywhere closed. If you don't have a transport, then you have to hustle to the bus terminal maybe before 7:30 to get a transport to go. So we have to spend our time on that. I remember in 2009, 2010, the then Minister of Labour was exploring the possibility of introducing flexi time in Grenada. Flexi time, you can go beyond 4. Different shift. You have people working from maybe 6 in the morning to 2 in the evening, from 2 to 10, and then from 10 to 2, and you go all night. I mean, Trinidad, many years ago in the 1980s when I went on to Trinidad, this was already in place.
Right.
Trinidad there is no problem with transportation in Trinidad, no matter where you want to go, whatever time you want to go. So we have to, if we're promoting Grenada as a tourist destination, there are a lot of things that we have to do. If tourism is big, and it's big when compared to other sectors in terms of GDP contribution.
Right.
I saw in many documents you're talking about 40.5%, and a hotel whisper in my ears 40.5% plus 25 from SGU, and he put all this thing together.
Right.
Now, if that is the kind of contribution we get for the GDP, it means that our education system has to be geared towards that. If we're promoting agriculture, our education system must be geared towards that. If we have oil, our education system must be geared towards that. In other words, the scholarships, these island scholars must be getting scholarships to go and study in those areas. And you made the point in regards to how many chefs do we have in Grenada? Right. How many people can take up the high-end jobs in the hotel industry as local people? We keep hearing about with due respect to the island scholar in science, island scholar in other areas. Yes, they are needed, but what will turn around and transform our society is the opportunity to train people in areas they can contribute to our society and the development of our
So would we see a Minister of Tourism who agitates, based on your conversation here, for 2 things? One, targeted scholarships for the tourism industry, and if yes, in what area? And the second thing that you mentioned is that it's important for people to have the ability to move in order for the tourism product to blossom. And hence, will we see an investment by government into our transportation sector?
Big time.
Whether it is a national transportation service that takes up the slack at night, or it is some type of conversation with our taxis. Because in other countries, one, you can get taxis almost 24/7, and they are at a price that is affordable to the population. That is not the case in Grenada. Will we see targeted investment in education through scholarships to support the sector, and some investment in the movement of people through the public transportation system?
Colin, in the next couple of weeks, I'll be going around the country meeting with some of the stakeholders, important stakeholders. And the Taxi Association is one of them I'll be having a discussion with. Our government is already talking about going green in regards to vehicles. We said it in the budget, 100% for people who importing electrical vehicles and hybrid vehicles. We have recognized the high cost of transportation in Grenada. And it's because really and truly, I'm not sure if the hotel, the taxi men and the bus drivers getting I know the busmen not getting anything in regards to concession, so they really and truly they cannot subsidize anything. They have to go with the flow. At one point in time, taxi men in Grenada with buses got 100% concession at one point in time, but I think that was removed. This is a conversation that we'll have to have with them. People have to move, and not only for the tourists per se, but even your local people. Right. And that is the starting.
But the tourists don't want to go anywhere that no one is.
But that's the transport. That is if you solve this transport problem, right? People will come up with innovative ways of doing things in the evening.
Correct.
Because people go to flow.
Correct.
Or when somebody is at your bar having a cool beer, they don't have to hurry on the first one and go with the next one in the hand because the bus leaving now. Transportation should be leaving on the hour. In the 80s, after I finished secondary school, PTS was leaving St. George's at 10 o'clock in the night to go all the way to Grenville. And you could be on the road in St. David's and get a transportation with no problem. We have retrogressed in that respect, and we need to move forward. So yes, this is something that we will be addressing, and and the hotel industry needs the transportation, especially when they have people finishing work at 9 and 10 in the evening, and they have to go all the way to the country. So this is people from Grenville are reluctant to take a walk in the hotel industry in St. George because of transportation. Right. So the people have to come down to town and jam in Grandans Valley and Montu and those areas, and then because that is where they can make it for the night, and on weekends they make up. So it's a problem that is affecting the industry, and it is something that the government alone cannot solve. But we have to come together with other stakeholders. It has to be in a PPP.
Right. Manu, I know you are to weigh in there.
Yes, you cannot have a young lady standing by Lacroix or Redgate at 2 o'clock in the night looking for a ride to go home in this dangerous time. You cannot do that. We have to fix that and fix that quickly. We must sort it out. Again, too, we have to look at development as well, because the South is crowded. You can't put anything more. So we have to try to avoid the rural and urban migration. So we have to bring some of the jobs to them in the tourism sector as well, as much as we can. So spread the wealth, especially in your parish would be the parish,
the Virgin Parish. The Virgin Parish.
The idea, and I certainly would want to ask Minister what he believes Sixth Sense will do for St. David, and how is he looking forward to control and manage that growth. So what we see, as you spoke earlier, there was a St. George's University and almost a haphazard development of the South. Yeah. How can we guard against that with the injection of Sixth Sense in St. David and the project that is earmarked
Continental
also in St. David, yes. But if you look at the Lavera project as well.
That's the point.
So if we are to spread, as Mandu said, what are we doing to ensure there is planned development after these private investments?
And that's why I like the thinking of our Prime Minister. This guy thinks big. He thinks down the road. And I'm not sure at the initial stage of those projects if any planning was done in that respect in terms of developing other areas that will be affected. In 2008, 2009, when the government led by Tillman Thomas was in office, and we were negotiating with the University of the West Indies to have that campus in St. Andrew. We foresee that the kind of impact that SGU was creating in the south of the island would have a similar impact in that part of the island. Can you imagine what it would have been 20 years if we got on the ground? I mean, the project had to go to St. Lucia because the National Democratic Congress was out of office and the next administration did not take up the project. So this is the kind of vision that one will foresee. The project in Livera, if it gets off the ground, and I mean the plans that they have for if all come true, it will be a fantastic transformation in the north of the island. With Lippers Hill there, the St. Patrick is noted, let me say Krong City, and congratulations to Scholar. The most historic parish, it will be a plus. I mean, St. Patrick's with Livera, St. David with Sixth Senses, Grenada is on this verge of transforming into a better paradise. All right.
That said, tourism too is fickle, is a fragile economy too as well. And if you go back to from 9/11, you go back to 2004, we can even do it. Says we have to, tourism and agriculture has to be like man and woman, you have to marry them together. One cannot do the other. We have to look at sustainable jobs too as well, because it's so fragile. It's a great industry, but you can lose it tomorrow. Anything happen abroad.
Right.
A terrorist attack some country, nobody traveling. So this is, and we saw what COVID did to us with the tourism sector. Great sector, but still we need other things to fall in the slot as well.
And that is one of the reasons I emphasize the need to, when you're developing your tourist product, develop it in a way that the people could enjoy it.
That's right.
All right.
Let me just play off of something that you mentioned, Mando, because there's a gentleman sitting here with us who is a trained agriculturist. I mean, that's when I met him. He was marrying agriculture and tourism since then, because we were on the airport as an agricultural officer. So chat with us a little bit about your vision for the harmonization of these two industries, which for too long seem to have been competing for who's better than who in contributing to the national development.
Well, I said to some of my colleagues, I've been championing the agriculture as the backbone of the economy. I will not take that from agriculture. It is truly the backbone of the economy. It's a must. We need it. But I'm no champion in the tourist industry. And I'm going to champion the tourist industry, not as the backbone of the economy, but maybe the heartbeat of the economy, because they are making the contribution quite well. But Colin, and that brings me back to the point I was making on the issue of replanting spices. That is where the tourism comes in. I remember going to Antigua a very long time ago, a young man, and I was handed a pineapple in Antigua as I reached the hotel. Free, quote unquote. It's been taken up in the cost somewhere, but this was a captured market for the farmers in the hotel industry. And I've already started to have discussion with my colleague in agriculture that no tourist should come and overnight in Grenada without being handed a little basket made of bamboo with some spices in it. You see what you see where we're going?
Right.
This is an industry. You have bamboo in Grenada. You make how many tourists came in last year? Over 500,000?
Yeah, cruise ships, passengers.
Passengers, right?
Still visitors,
You make 500,000 of that, and you put 2 spices in it. A little piece of cinnamon, 2 grains of nutmeg, a piece of mace. That's enough. They don't have to get the 12 spices. That is 20 spices we have in Grenada. This is a captured market. So agritourism is a must if you want this thing to succeed. And not only that, the fact that tourism is 6 months active in terms of cruise ships and so on, but people still come and overnight and so on. And Grenada with a population of 100,000 people, and half of the population already growing their own spices and have access to it, so they wouldn't buy much. So anything you're developing along that line, your market has to be the Caribbean, North America, Europe, Africa. We have to start thinking big. We cannot continue making guava cheese, which the tourists like, in our kitchen and under our houses. And on the far side, if you were doing that 10 years ago, the time has come for you to move into a factory. And the Ministry of Agriculture is in the process of putting a mini factory together in La Colombe. I think the building has already been purchased. The materials are being ordered to retrofit the place, and the agro-processors will be able to go in there, process the stuff. If you have sea moss, you go and you blend it. If you have soursop, you go and you blend it, and you go home, you stow it away, and then you will package it and disseminate it as the demands arrive. So the agritourism is no doubt going to be big on my agenda. And we have to be consistent, and we have to be serious. You cannot tell Silver Sands that we're providing you cabbage and then next week we won't have.
Yeah.
No. We have to. Our approach has to be different. The farmer, you cannot contract a farmer you contract him to grow tomatoes. He lost a crop, and he got a security job, and he gone. and you come to collect tomatoes and the hotels cannot get, the restaurants cannot get. We have to be a little bit more serious and more business-like in our approach. And hence the reason why the agribusiness symposium that was organized by the Ministry of Agriculture last Thursday, is key in terms of going forward. The business community have to get involved in the agricultural sector. You cannot, even though you are an exporter, you are an exporter of soursop, but you're not growing soursop, and you make $1 million profit, or $2 million profit in exporting soursop. Do not take the $2 million and go on vacation in Dubai. You must take a 10%, because the soursop you are exporting, the farmers who are producing are still in poverty. Yes. So they're going to run at some point in time if some other opportunity comes. So you want to keep that farmer there, continue producing, but his livelihood, his family must be taken care of. So we want the airlines who are making the money in terms of carrying the goods must see the need to help in that respect. The banks, because the farmers' children, who is now working as lawyers and doctors and so on, their money is in the bank, but the source came from agriculture. I mean, I can go on and on, but
I know. But the question is, my challenge to you is, how are you going to force, and I'm going to use a strong language here, force that marriage between the sectors so that your hoteliers, your restaurateurs, your tour operators give value and credence to our agricultural products, not just the spices. The spices definitely, because that's part of our brand, but also the other produce that we grow.
We just cannot supply. You see, you can take a hotel like Sandals. We can't supply. I mean, the farmers can't supply Sandals, and that's where you have to look at pro tourism that the poor must benefit too as well. You know, so if tourism do well, all the sectors of the economy do extremely well. Everybody, as you said, that marriage is mentioned like man and woman, and you have to keep it together.
Right. Yeah, but it's important to note, because if you want, I mean, Sanders is a multi-million-dollar business. 6 Cents is going to be a multi-million-dollar business. They cannot lapse. They cannot wait on you if you're not ready yet. No. So they have to roll. So therefore, it is our responsibility to assist the farmers who are willing to move forward. They are willing. They're producing chicken. They are willing. They're producing spices. They are vegetables. They are there. But what is the problem? Is it a question of management? Is it the question of they don't have the business-like approach? So then they're starting good, they start for 5-6 years and then they drop off? Something is wrong there. So as a state, we have a responsibility to address the issue and make sure that the farmers could get as serious as the owners of Sanders. That's how you're going to go forward. But if Sanders is up there and the farmers are down there, you're going to have some disparity there. Okay. So we have to fix that.
All right. If we're to change gears a little bit on heritage tourism, so you spoke of the fort being the restoration of Fort George being an important addition to our tourism product. What is your vision for the home of Easter Water Parade and the backdrop to the fantastic launch of Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence? So yes, I am speaking about the Carnage.
So who told you about the parade? So somebody told you about it?
Easter Water Parade? As a youngster. Oh, you know, as a youngster. You know, and there's still evidence of the Carnage because you still have the white sand, you know, opposite Empire. I'm saying Empire. Yeah. All right.
I knew about that one too.
Yeah, but Colin, what's the vision for the Carnage?
Colin, yes, the Carnage, we are still playing with the idea in terms of what we're going to do with the Carnage. We have a lot of ideas in terms, but we're going to do something about it, no doubt. You would have realized that just coming to the end of the year, 2023, the talk in the air was that the boats there have to move, and we have to be relocated because we have plans in terms of going forward. We believe that this is a fantastic in-bay. I've seen a similar bay in St. Thomas, and what they have done with it, and the front, I mean, it's fantastic. And I was there in the late 90s when they had the Millibug in Grenada. I went down there, and Colin, the potential that the Carnage has, it's amazing what we can do with it, and tourists can come to Grenada just for that. Cannot be specific until exactly what we're going to do as yet, but there are plans in the making, and the Grenadian people will know in due course.
Okay.
Let's call it the St. Troopers of the Caribbean. That's what it should be. Yeah, the St. Troopers of the Caribbean. As you mentioned, heritage, Colin, that's one of tourism people come for a lot too as well. Heritage tourism. We have some of the old buildings in St. George. You ever heard about a seed and poach on Church Street? There's a few countries in the world that seed and poachers.
Right.
On the right-hand side, opposite Heinzie School. Those are seed and poachers, and they were used for when the elite arrive on the carriages. The enslaved come out to the seat and chair and bring them inside.
Right.
The Anglican Church has one as well. A few countries in the world have that. We all have seed and poach. How much people know about this? These are things we need to do, keep that heritage going. And we need the signs and all these things marked out as well. That's the only way you could get UNESCO status.
Right.
If you wanted to be UNESCO status, that's the way we should have it years ago. But a lot of buildings are just falling to pieces, heritage buildings.
And to add to that, I mean, I was pleased that the National Museum is still on the tongue of Grenadians. I mean, this is so crucial. You can, if people that is not cultured really and truly going to be disoriented, they're going to lose their way, and they really and truly would not have a sense of purpose. And it is important that the National Stadium get back its name and its place. And what I'm seeing there in terms of the art and so on, and the effort that the committee that we have just reconstituted is putting into it, I think this is a plus for the beginning of the heritage.
Okay. Viewers, it's time for us to take our final break. So we'll be away just for a short while, but we'll be right back to continue talking tourism.
When you need someone to help you to your feet, I'll be that beacon to your highest peak. I'll be right next to you, no, I will never leave. Come on, take my hands, we got everything we need. Cause you can look to me, whenever you're in need. Just call on me and I'll be on my way. I'll be by your side, never to divide. The light that shines our way. Wherever you road leads, we'll make your dreams come true. Next time, next time, next time, next day,
Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
The Planning and Development Authority of Grenada, PDA, is enforcing regulations to curb illegal, disorderly, and unauthorized development in several locations throughout the state of Grenada. The authority is concerned that structures mainly associated with vending are negatively impacting the environment, has undesirable public health and sanitation consequences, present obstructions to vehicle and pedestrian traffic, can become projectiles during adverse weather conditions, and generally affect the aesthetics of the nation. The PDA will work along with stakeholder ministries and institutions to effect the demolition, removal, and disposal of structures which fall in the category of illegal and disorderly development, commencing January 2024. In this regard, persons who vend in or occupy such illegal structures are advised to secure their personal belongings and have the structures removed ahead of the planned PDA demolition operations. These actions of the PDA have become necessary to safeguard and protect public health and the environment, ensure the safety and well-being of all citizens and visitors, discourage any future disorderly construction, and encourage compliance to regulations pertaining to physical development in the state of Grenada. This is a message from the Planning and Development Authority of Grenada.
our beautiful pure island, is turning 50. And what better way to celebrate than with an evening that captures our heart, our spirit, our journey. Welcome to Up From Here, an experience of our past, present, and future. Join us at the National Cricket Stadium on Friday, February 2nd, as we revel in a spectacular showcase of Grenadian talent from our very own shores and from across the seas. Our artists are coming home to celebrate with us. Experience the rhythms that rocked our past and melodies that map our future. Live bands, sensational artists, dynamic dancers, all on one stage. And the best part, it's absolutely free. Gates open at 7 p.m. Showtime 8 p.m. Come early. Bring your family. Bring your friends. Let's fill the stadium with our pride, our joy, our unity. 50 years of music, talent, and creativity. This is our moment, Grenada. Let's celebrate. It's only up from here together. Stay connected to our social media pages for updates at Grenada Turns 50.
And welcome back. We're talking the state of tourism. We left off discussing heritage tourism, and Minister, we heard in the budget that an area which was formerly occupied by the Rivera Hotel has been identified as the Heroes Park. So share with us what are the plans, and what type of time frame, because if we're going to speak heritage and the preaching of Grenadianism, this is an important aspect and addition to the tourism product and our cultural awareness for our citizens.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, Colin, we have acquired the land. It's now in the hands of the government, and we have identified as one of the areas that will be merged with the Common Park, as a place where Grenadians can relax themselves and enjoy themselves. And there is a serious need for Heroes Park in Grenada. We really and truly need to identify our heroes, so we have to put that system in place in terms of the system we're going to use to identify them. And then when we do that, we need somewhere for them to reside. And therefore, in the middle of the tourist belt, it might be the ideal place for that. So I cannot tell you off the bat that we're going to start this year, next year, but it is something we have no other intention of utilizing that place for more than that.
Okay, let me ask you this, because you talk about Camahan Park where there are, washroom facilities, etc. Are we going to see a growth in washroom facilities at the popular beaches and green spaces in Grenada? Well, Lassages Beach, wherever we frequent in large numbers.
I don't even want to talk about that in tourism, because the honest truth is that's basic necessities for your people. You cannot have these public spaces. You go to spend the day in Lassages, so such a beautiful beach, but you want to spend the day to picnic and have fun and so on. You and your family and everybody, and there's no restroom there. I mean, what's that? So we way behind that, and we have to make the necessary adjustment. Not only, we need a lot of pathways and common parks throughout Grenada, public space where people can go and relax. Even for the tourists industry, for the tourists, when you're going around the island, tourists need to stop somewhere and relax themselves. Not going and beg an individual to use his private bathroom or his little cozy kind of bar in the back there to have a busload of tourists.
Let's start on the bush washroom,
You really want to do that. As a nation, it's not something that you're really proud of, and we have to step up. We have to step up. We're going to invite people to come to your home. As an individual, you have to make sure that your facilities can accommodate people. And as a nation, when we're inviting people we spend millions of dollars inviting people to come to Grenada, and those basic things are not in place. Can't continue going down that road.
Speaking of inviting, we do invite you to join us by calling in 440-1252. That's the number. So feel free to call in and make your contributions. Minister, before the first call, intra-regional airlift. We lost Liat a couple of weeks ago. What thrust is there?
We're still looking, Colin.
Oh, man.
We're still looking. It's still a problem in the Caribbean to move people. I mean, I'm frightened sometimes to travel. It takes, sometimes I had to go to Jamaica to a one-day meeting. I had to overnight in Miami.
Correct.
Down to Jamaica. One-day meeting. Come back to Miami overnight. back to Grenada.
That's me next week.
5 days. I mean,
that's me next week.
And Jamaica is right there. I mean, it's just too crazy, and we really and truly, if we want the commerce to move and we want tourists to move, we have to address
We'll
that.
be seeing some type of flights coming to the Caribbean from the continent of Africa.
Well, that is our dream that we want that to happen. I mean, it's only today I was informed that from Africa to Grenada, it can take just 5 hours straight. But then the international market doesn't allow that to happen.
Well,
you have to go all the way to England.
Maybe build it and they will come.
And then come back down, you know. So again, as a Caribbean destination, the city, you have to do a lot of work in terms of mobilizing. But I guess I will accept the fact that the bulk of tourists comes from North America, the Caribbean and Canada. Maybe the rest come from Europe.
That's today. Accessibility can
make a difference, because I'll be happy, with due respect, to go to Africa and spend some vacation. Because we do gone to North America so many times.
Correct.
But so and the Africans may like to come to the Caribbean also.
Let's take our first caller. Good evening, caller, and welcome. Good evening, caller. Go ahead. Okay, let me just quick piece. The terminal expansion, will we see that? We see lots of flights on weekends in Grenada, and whenever we have 3 or so aircrafts on the ground, checking in, people are in the road, going to immigration, people on the tarmac. Would we see an expansion of our terminal under this administration?
Well, that is not something that we have in the pipeline right now, but if there is need for it, then we will not hesitate to.
I'm going to also stick to MBIA a little bit. I know that we were supposed to have an apron and an alternative taxiway. Will we be seeing that as part of this project? We see the jet bridges being put down, but I don't know that we have seen movement on the on-off ramp.
No, I think that has been reviewed. I don't think it will come in these rounds, but you never know what the future was.
Okay. The jet bridges, is it going to be operational soon? And under its current construct, does it prove to be a problem with people who are coming in and those exiting? In other words, do we have to have a stopgap because you can't have people leaving and landing?
Well, I don't know the operation of it per se, but it will be in operation soon.
It will be in operation soon. Yes. Okay. The other thing I'll ask you, when we stop filling out forms and coming in?
We should be, I don't think June will carry us there. It should be the first quarter of this year, but give or take, June for the latest.
June for the latest.
It should stop. I mean, I've traveled all the way from Azerbaijan, and Grenada is the only place I had to follow out of form. Yes.
Repeating some of the same information that when you scan your passport, it's there.
Market. You know, the Caribbean was always our main source market. When we had that great program under William Joseph with Let's Go Grenada, and Grenada got it, we had about 30,000 trainees coming in easily. Yes. And this big spending power to, I mean, they spend a lot more than North Americans or the Europeans. Yeah. So just to show you how we had it going for us. Yeah.
The Caribbean travel.
Yes.
And you're talking about which airline?
Liat killed it for us.
And the airline from Trinidad.
We lost that, yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, and while we would have lost, the question is that the Caribbean was the second largest source market at the time. North America was still number 1,
yes,
but the Caribbean was number 2. Trinidad being a major source market, 90 miles away. And the question is whether we emphasize that intra-regional travel by marketing Grenada to our people, because we are similar, but we're not the same.
True.
Yeah, of course.
We're not the same.
We're not the same.
Yeah. I know, Minister, you may want to address some of the things as you have been going around to your stakeholders. So I know your engagement, certainly with the Taxi Drivers Association, was one that you mentioned, but some of the other stakeholders that you just may want to send a message to.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to meet with the chair, and the board of directors of the Grenada Tourism Authority. I had the privilege to meet with the CEO also. I think this is a fantastic institution that we really and truly need to pay some more attention to and give them some more responsibility possibility because they have the ability and the capability to move the industry. I had the privilege to meet with the Grenada Hotel and Tourism Association.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yes, you were at the meeting, and this was a fantastic meeting. I left that meeting feeling on a high. Okay. I didn't get any marijuana to smoke, but I felt good because I think this is a stakeholder that is very, very important to the industry. They play a significant role. If you don't have rooms in Grenada, people not coming to overnight, and you cannot fly for 5 hours and then just watch the place and go back. So the hotel industry is very, very important.
So share with us, what is the current room stock? If you just ballpark.
Well. I think they registered maybe about 25, just over 2,500, but operational it might be below that, about 17 or 1500.
Yeah, between 1,900
somewhere around there. But all the next 25, you have to get them up. You have to just find out what's happening there and what caused them to be locked down.
Are we getting value for money? I mean, as someone who have traveled, when you look at the cost of, per night of a hotel room in Grenada compared to some of the other Caribbean destinations and certainly North America, it is higher.
In Grenada is higher?
Yes.
Yes.
What can we do to be more competitive in that way?
Well, I believe it's turnover. You know, if you spend $1 million on a hotel and it's only 6 months in the year that it's going to be occupied, then it means you may want to make the money you're supposed to make for a year. You may want to make it in 6 months. In North America and those other places, this is a 12 months period. I don't know if that's
one of the key in that Colin is energy.
Okay.
Complexity. Enormous cost for hoteliers. The energy is a problem. If you could get that down with more usual energy, solar, wind, whatever, but energy will kill in the hotels. That's why the rooms are still there to survive.
Have the hoteliers made moves in order to become more energy efficient?
Yes. Yeah, that's the way forward. Yeah, but energy right now is the biggest killer for them.
And I'll stick on that a little bit. But I know that quite often go ahead.
Before you go, I will entertain the discussion. I'll try to get the discussion going in regards to having some special package for Grenadians to make use of the hotels in Grenada.
They do.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's just not enough.
Yeah, special package for CARICOM residents.
Yes. It's just not enough. But I think we need to promote it a little more. Let people leave your home and your children home and with all the noise in here, you and your husband and
you're going to spend a night. Yeah. You get a package for that.
Get a package for that. But so we have to start promoting.
Is this, and probably this is a question for Mando, have hoteliers traditionally been welcoming to Grenadians? And I say this because other islands that I visit, right? You go to, let's say you're in Trinidad, you're at the Hyatt, you're at the Marriott, you're in St. Lucia at Bay Gardens. Well, we have a caller. So, good evening, caller, and welcome.
Good evening to every one of you. I'm so happy to be on that program for tonight. I'm from Belgium, St. David's, and man, I'm so glad that things start happening in our little parish. I'm happy to see that minister, and I want to tell them to continue that vision, because that's all Eric Gary had a vision for the School of Medicine and all these things, and it's happened. So that vision that they have for Grenada, not for St. David, not St. David's only, but the whole of Grenada, through God's grace, we'll make it. So I thank the government for having all these things put in place. And I know it will come soon. So thank you all so very much.
Thank you. Wonderful. All right. Just before that caller, I was asking, because St. Lucia, you go to Bay Gardens on a Sunday morning, families are there. St. Lucian families. In Trinidad, whether it's business meetings or families coming into breakfast at the hotels, that doesn't happen in Grenada. Is it an artificial barrier that was put up by the hoteliers that Grenadians don't feel welcome and hence don't engage in hotels?
I don't think so. I think probably some of them obviously be cost. But no, True Blue, Gems, Kalinago, Koyaba, people, people go there. They have special, they get day pass. They have day passes. So
I had the opportunity sometime last year when myself and former Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Ron Redded, we went to visit William Monroe in Koyaba, and he brought down 12 children with him. Just to see Grenada. because I mean he's Grenadian, right? And he just financed them and he kept them up in the hotel, and this was so beautiful. And I think I had the opportunity also to spend a weekend in Spicing when Sir Hopkins was offering teachers through the union the opportunity to come and spend a weekend. And I think he had 2 weekends with 20-something teachers, and this was so fantastic. And then also the field tourism. And if you could get the kids to even spend a night, somebody have to pay for it. But this is a good way to bring your tourism class to spend a night at a hotel. Let them appreciate, let them love what they see there. Let them look at the people serving, the chef, and get that love for it so that at least they could develop a career in that area.
Okay. And some other stakeholders, Minister, I'm giving you the opportunity and the platform
right.
to target, whether you have met with them already or not as yet, but saying coming soon, and these are some of the plans that we have.
Yes, well, the two operators, I would want to touch base with them also.
I have another caller, I'm sorry.
Problem.
So good evening, caller, welcome.
Good night to everyone. I'm currently a student studying tourism, and I have a question for Mr. Thomas.
I'm not hearing. Okay.
What are some of the policies
I will repeat the question because your minister is not hearing you at the moment, so I'll repeat the question. So go ahead.
Okay. What are some of the policies that can be put in place to ensure that we are given the opportunity to train and practice sustainable tourism within the country and mainly our communities?
Okay. Some of the policies that will be put in place to ensure, this is a student of tourism, some of the policies that will be put in place to ensure that they train in sustainable tourism so that they can have jobs, essentially.
Okay, good, very good question. The government presently is embarking on establishing some skills training center around the country. Tourism will definitely be one of them, and other training in the areas of construction and other skills and so on will also be part of it. But tourism will definitely be part of that. What we have to do also is to have a sit down with the Hotel Association, the Grenada Tourism Authority, and all the other stakeholders to see if we can really come up with some ways and means of utilizing the opportunity we have and creating avenues and opportunities for the people who are interested in the tourism industry.
Okay. Any ideas thus far on health tourism?
Well, health tourism is going to be a big thing in Grenada sooner or later. You may have heard the announcement in the budget, whereby we have secured over 83 acres of land to establish the teaching hospital, and once we are hoping to start this before the next election and continue, because it's going to be a massive project. We are not rushing it. We are making sure that we plan it properly and well executed, and we can do something positive for the health of our nation first, which will encourage tourists to come to Grenada. But health is very high on the agenda, and I think once we deal with the skills training centers, the hospital, the amount of money we are pumping into agriculture, I think Grenada will be a nice place for tourists to really come.
Okay. Mandu, we're talking pumping money in now. So you get an opportunity to make a wish. Yeah. So as a tour operator, but certainly a member of the GHTA and a long-standing member within the industry, what are some of the policies or policy adjustments you would like to see in order to foster your business's growth?
Well, not my business alone, as many others as well. We love to have more dialogue with the GTA and the ministry, obvious, because the GHTA do not have a representative on the GTA board, which we don't have it in the past. Hopefully that was a way they could.
Has that always been the case?
Yeah, it's been the case.
Has always been the case?
Yeah, in the past, yeah.
Okay.
somebody from GHTA would be on the board of GTA, and it's not happening at the moment. So that conversation is not there as it should be to know who's doing what, and so hopefully we could solve that problem.
Is it that there's space by statute and no one has taken up the position, or the statute locked out the GHTA?
I think they'll be locked out.
Okay. Yeah. Because I know in the olden days of the Grenada Board of Tourism, there was a representative from the GHTA on the board.
That's right.
Right.
But this issue was raised when I attended the meeting. It's one of the concerns, and I will definitely address it. But we address those things through dialogue and have a chit chat on it and see how we could resolve the problem.
Okay. You have another opportunity. That's one, and I promise to resolve. So don't lose the opportunity.
Don't lose the opportunity to GHTA.
But just in tourism in general, there's some of the policies or things that you'd like to see that you believe will be able to enhance the tourism product overall.
We have to look at a lot with dress codes. You know, you can't have somebody with a piece of slipper and so driving people and so you must look tired. You must have a brand somewhere. Yes, that's part of the dress code. We have to look at the vehicles sometime in that case as well, and how we regulate people. You can't have a guy who just doing all sort of thing. 1 minute he driving bus, next minute he come and drive tourists. You know, if you're in that business, you have to be in that business or whatever. That's the proper regulation we need, and the way forward we have to go.
How do we handle referring to that differently abled individuals? So, you know, people come in there, whether it's on a cruise ship or whether they're a stayover visitor, they may not necessarily be mobile, so they're wheelchair bound, etc. Do we have the type of vehicles that can take care of them so that they too can experience Grenada?
Just about one. No, we haven't got that. We haven't got that service off to offer that service for the.
Is this something that your organization would have lobbied for, whether it's through concessions, etc.? Is this an opportunity?
We spoke about it. There are concessions for it as well for that type of vehicle. We spoke about many times already, but just have not been implemented as well. But as the minister said, that's the way forward. It takes time to get all these things along the road.
Well, we're in 2024.
Yeah.
So it is a challenge because it seems as though we'll be locking out ourselves from a particular section of the market if we don't have these type of facilities on island.
Yeah, and even buildings that's going up as well should have to commit for these people. We're talking about people, you know what I mean? Yeah, you can't have a man with and even the drains, well, a lot of drains are solved in St. George Town, but Colin and Minister, be honest with you, the town has reached out to be a pedestrian town. We have to find parking on the outside and everybody walk in the town, and so, but it's not happening. Look at the market. We made a total mess of the market. It's in disarray at the moment. Market should be like you come, you open at 6 and you close at 6 with your nice umbrellas and so on, people shop, but now it's anything goes inside it. You're selling rum, you're selling this, you're selling that. You know. The market is in a total mess at the moment.
Okay. Minister, it's almost time to wrap up, so I'll give you the opportunity to share, whether it's challenges to the populations, but some of the things that you'd want us to know as we reflect on the tourism sector in Grenada.
Well, I want, Colin, I want the nation to take charge of tourism. It cannot be a government thing, it can't be the hoteliers, it cannot be just a few people. As a nation, if we're going to make this economic pillar, the nation have to take charge of it, and I want everybody to really work together. All the stakeholders have a part to play. The hoteliers have their rooms, the taximen have their transport, the vendors selling the products, the farmers doing the bit, and everybody have a. In other words, the true saying, tourism is everybody's business, and Grenada being the spice of the Caribbean, we must live up to that and do not create any opportunity for somebody else to take it from us. So I call on the nation in particular to be part of the tourist industry. Find some way of doing something that you could get a tourist to be part and parcel of. If you're good on cooking oil long, find some way, get a job where people go to taste your oil long and come back every tourist season and look for you. So once again, I call on the nation to be part and parcel of it, and I look forward to a bumper season for 2024.
Excellent. Well, there you have it. Mando Seals.
If you're not actually working directly into the sector, but at least you play a part by being nice to the tourists, show them the right way and all these things, you know. So indirectly, you're playing your part.
We all have our part to play. All right. Mando Seals, thank you so very much for joining us. Senator Adrian Thomas, thank you for being on this evening's program and sharing. You're getting your foot wet in the field of tourism. We certainly look forward to having you back as a more seasoned
definitely.
And then we'll have more engagements on your plans. And to you, viewers, who spent the last 90 minutes with us, thank you so very much for joining us this evening. It's an absolute pleasure sharing with you. And I certainly look forward to being with you again in the next 6 days, 22 and a half hours. Good evening. Godspeed.